Okay. Last minute. Maybe switch glasses for a second. Yeah, it's up to you. 30 seconds, please. Good evening and welcome to the February 27, 2024 public planning meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Dumfries Community Complex. Attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. You can watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township YouTube page. You can submit written comments to the Clerks Division that will be provided to council members and will form part of the public record. I now call the meeting to order and can I have approval of the agenda, please, Councilor Williams?
Moved by myself and second by Councilor Williams, that council adopt February 27, 2024 council agenda, public planning meeting as.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. I would now like to do the Indigenous Territory Acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and Neutral. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. And as we think on and ponder this today, I'd like to draw your attention to the Indigenous people want to work side by side. They want to work with us. They are inclusive, not divisive. They hope that we will have common goals about our planet, our country, the earth. So let's let them ponder about the respect we should all have. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? All right, no adoptions are made. Going into committee of adjustment, please, Councilor Austin.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Chili, that the council meeting adjourn at 7:02 p.m. Sit as committee of adjustment for the purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Do any members of the committee of adjustment wish to disclose of pecuniary interest? Councilor Austin.
Yes, for 7.2 report 8005-24.
So noted and thank you. And we will now do the minutes of the January 29th. Councilor Tilly, please. Councilor Tilly, please. Motion.
Moved by myself, second by Derek Osner. Councilor Osner, sorry, read the words actually there. The committee of adjustment be approved, the committee of adjustment approved, the meeting minutes dated January 29th, 2024.
All those in favor? Thank you. My video keeps shutting me off and they're trying to tell me something. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Report PD 05-2024, consent application for 56 Piper Street, file number B 04-23 and B 05-23. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. Secretary Teacher will record all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Division to request a notice of decision. The individuals will be notified of decision or the convening of future meetings on this application. I'd like to introduce Christina Blazanovic, Planner 1 GIS Tech, who will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Councilors. The following presentation is for consent applications B04/23 and B05/23 located at 56 Piper Street. A public meeting was held on January 29th, 2024. The purpose of this meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of the application. The property is located on the north side of Piper Street between Walter Street and Church Street. The property has a lot frontage of approximately 16.7 meters onto Piper Street and is 2.5 acres in size. The property consists of a one-story single detached dwelling and surrounding land uses are residential. The subject property is zoned Z5 urban residential and Z12 open space in the township zoning bylaw and is designated urban residential and facility in the township official plan. The applicant has submitted 2 consent applications. The purpose of the consent applications is to convey the northeast portion of the subject property as 2 lot additions to the adjacent properties located at 52 Piper Street and 40 Piper Street. No new lots will be created through these consent applications. B04/23 proposes to convey part 2 of the subject property as shown on the consent sketch as a lot addition to the adjacent property located at 52 Piper Street. This proposed lot addition, if approved, would convey an area of approximately 918 meters squared. And B05/23 proposes to convey part 3 of the subject property as shown on the consent sketch as a lot addition to the adjacent property located at 40 Piper Street. This proposed lot addition, if approved, would convey an area of approximately 2,114 meters squared. The photo on the top left is a street view of 56 Piper Street, and the photo on the bottom right is a street view of 40 Piper Street. The yellow dashed line is an approximate lot boundary between 40 Piper Street and 56 Piper Street to the rear. As you can see from this photo, the lands proposed to be conveyed as lot additions to both 40 and 52 Piper Street consist of natural areas that extend to the north river. There have been no comments or concerns received from any members of the public, and there are no objections from any external agencies or internal departments. Staff is satisfied that the proposed applications are appropriate, and staff's opinion is based on the following. As mentioned, no major comments or concerns received from any external or internal agencies, no comments or concerns received from any members of the public. The current zoning classification of the proposed lot additions will remain the same, so as to not impact the existing environmental features. The general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw are maintained. There will be no accessory buildings or structures permitted to be erected within the area of the lot additions. And the proposed lot additions will align more appropriately with adjacent lots, specifically the lots located on the north side of Piper Street as they all extend to the North River. And the proposed lot addition is compatible with the surrounding land uses as there are no rear neighbors and the area will remain as natural environmental features. Staff recommend that consent applications B04/23 and B05/23 be approved subject to the conditions listed in the recommendation section of report number PD 05/2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Is there any members of the public that would like to make any comments? Seeing nobody, any questions from council? Councilor Rowland.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Christina, just curious, the lot being severed is a residential lot, and then it's being attached to a commercial lot here in East 40 Piper Street. I'm wondering how that would be retained. Will it evolve become a commercial lot, or will it be somehow divided so that it's a residential lot and a commercial lot going together? I'm just curious how that's done.
Ms. President.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, to Councilwoman. The zoning will remain how it is, so the rear of the property will stay zone 12, so it won't affect the zoning in any way.
Just a quick question. Now, on the map, it showed a lot of the properties going into the net. Do they actually own into the net? Interesting. Okay, thank you. No other questions? And I have the motion, please. Councilor Reynolds.
Moved by myself, seconded by Council Williman, that PD report number 05 twenty twenty-four be received. And that consent application B 4 /23 be a request to convey the northeast portion of the subject property as a lot addition to the adjacent property municipally addressed as 50 Piper Street be approved, subject to the following conditions. That the applicant submit a reference plan prepared by an Ontario land surveyor illustrating proposed lot addition to the satisfaction of the township of North Dumfries. That the applicant pay $220 representing the township administration fee. That the owner pay the township any outstanding taxes in full on the property. That applicant submit a draft of transfer deed for review upon registration. A final copy of the transfer deed shall be provided to the township. The applicant's solicitor submits an undertaking to register an application to consolidate the two parcels. Upon registration, evidence of compliance with the undertaking be provided to the township as soon as possible after registering consent, and that the above conditions be fulfilled and the document for conveyance, the certificate of consent, be completed by the secretary treasurer of the committee within 2 years of the date of written decision pursuant to section 5317 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Otherwise, the approval shall lapse. And 3, and that consent application B 05/23 be a request to reconvey the northeast portion of the subject property as a lot addition to the adjacent property municipally addressed as 40 Piper Street be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant submit a reference plan prepared by an Ontario land surveyor illustrating the proposed lot addition to the satisfaction of the town of North Dumfries. 2, that the applicant pay $220 representing the township administration fee. 3, that the owner pays the township any outstanding taxes in full on the property. 4, the applicant submit a draft of the transfer deed for review upon registration. A final copy of the transfer deed shall be provided to the township. 5, the applicant solicitor submits an undertaking to register an application to consolidate the two parcels. Upon registration, evidence of compliance with the undertaking be provided to the township as soon as possible after registering the consent. And 6, that the above conditions be fulfilled and the document for conveyance, that is the certificate of consent, be completed by the secretary treasurer of the committee within 2 years of the date of written decision pursuant to section 5317 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Otherwise, the approval shall lapse.
All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Shannon. You're just in time with the next motion up. Councilor Ross, a motion to adjourn the committee adjustment.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Choi, that pursuant to the Planning Act, the public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 7:12 p.m.
All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. We will now reconvene back into council, public meetings, 8.1, report PD 0624, proposed telecommunication tower at 405 Harmony Road, file number TC-01/23. Notice has been given in accordance with the Township North Dumfries Telecommunication Tower and Telecommunication Antenna Preferred Location Protocol. I'd like to introduce Michael Campos, Manager of Planning, who will present this application. Michael, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, senior staff, and members of the public. I'm here today to present a public information report related to an application that has been received for a telecommunication tower at 405 Harmony Road, file number TC-01/23. The purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal received, solicit comments, and to identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff as we move forward with the review of the application. Subject property is located at the southeastern corner of the intersection of Boyda Avenue and Harmony Road, as shown on the location map on your screen. Subject property is rectangular in shape, providing 113 meters of frontage onto Boyd Avenue and 134 meters of frontage onto Harmony Road. The site has a total lot area of approximately 1.72 hectares. Presently, the property is vacant of any structures or buildings and is actively being used for the parking of tractor trailers. Surrounding the subject property are primarily industrial and office-related uses. Subject property is designated Highway 401/Regional Road 97 employment area by the township's official plan in the zone Z11 industrial under general zoning bylaw number 689/83. The applicant submitted an application to erect a steel self-support tower that is 75 meters in height and located within a fenced-in compound with an area of approximately 225 square meters or approximately 2,400 square feet. The proposed tower is intended to provide wireless voice and data services for subscribers to the Bell Mobility Network. And presently, there is a 65-meter self-support tower located at 406 Harmony Road, which is the property immediately across the road from the subject property to the west. This existing tower is planned to be removed and replaced with the proposed tower being considered through this application. The proposed telecommunication tower is planned to have a greater height than the existing tower located across the road. The additional 10 meters in height that is requested for the new tower is necessary as the proposed tower is no longer in the same location that Bell's network has been built to accommodate. In order to ensure the same level of coverage is provided to the area, the additional height has been requested. The proposed increased height will also allow other carriers to use the tower for their own equipment, promoting co-location of infrastructure in the future and limiting the need for any new towers in this area when and if upgrades are required. The fenced-in compound that's proposed around the telecommunication tower will include one locked, alarmed, and electronically monitored mechanical equipment shelter. The fencing would be installed around the base of the tower and equipment shelter and will include one locked gate access point. Following the completion of the public consultation process, the township will inform the applicant and Industry Canada through a signed letter that the local land use consultation process has been completed in accordance with the township's telecommunication tower protocol, including comments raised during the public consultation process and recommendations regarding the proposed development. As can be seen in the site plan image on your screen, the tower is proposed to be located in the southeastern corner of the property, being the furthest possible location available from either of the two fronting roadways. And as shown on your screen, we have two images of the property taken from both the Boyd Avenue frontage and from the Harmony Road frontage. The first image on the left is a view looking southward from Boyd Avenue, which provides a visualization of the existing tractor trailer parking on site. This view also includes sight of the existing tower that is located at 406 Harmony Road. No access to the subject property is available from Boyd Avenue. The image on the right provides a visualization of the existing access on the subject property via Harmony Road, and access to the site will continue to be provided via this gated entrance. And the following image provides a visual simulation of what the proposed 75-meter tower will look like if viewing the property from the intersection of Boyd Avenue and Harmony Road. And as you can see, the tower will be very similar to the existing telecommunication tower that exists across the road, with the exception of the addition. At this time, planning staff have only received one piece of correspondence in relation to the proposed telecommunication tower from a neighboring property owner. The correspondence included questions relating to the proposed timeline for construction of the tower, as well as an inquiry as to what will happen to the existing tower across the road. Planning staff responded to this inquiry and advised that the applicant expects that once required clearances are received from Transport Canada, construction is expected to begin sometime between June and September 2024, with construction typically taking approximately a month to complete. The existing telecommunication tower across the road is planned to be removed and replaced with a proposal. Regarding agency correspondence received through the circulation review period, the majority of comments received have included no comments or objections to the proposed development. The Township's Engineering and Public Works Department has included comments seeking additional information with respect to the existing locations of catch basins, as well as where flows are being directed to the rear of the property. The applicant will be addressing these comments as part of a future submission and prior to a recommendation report being prepared by staff. As part of the review of this application, the Township's Telecommunication Tower Protocol outlines that the proponent is responsible for organizing and chairing a community information session in addition to a public meeting before council. The community information session was held on February 22nd, 2024 at the North Dumfries Community Complex from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Notification of this information session was included in the Air News on January 17th. Mail notices were also sent to neighboring property owners, and a notification sign was also posted on the subject property, which identified the date and time for the session. No members of the public attended the information session. At this time, staff is recommending that no decision on the merits of the planning application be made, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for further consideration. Future staff report will consider matters including, but not limited to, all comments and correspondence received during the consultation process. If the subject proposal, in the opinion of staff, is desirable for the property, complies with the township's telecommunication tower and telecommunication antenna preferred location protocol, and the potential impact of the proposed development on surrounding properties. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. I guess there's nobody in the public that wishes to speak. Councilors, any questions or comments? Oh, Lucas has a presentation. Pardon me, Lucas Cup. Go ahead, Lucas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just gonna share my screen. Is that visible to everybody? Sorry.
Yes.
Oh. Just give me-
We can see that now.
You can see it now? So sorry about that. I was having some Zoom issues. I'm going to share my screen again. Is that visible now?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Lucas Cuff, and I'm a planner working at Fonter International, representing Bell Mobility's interest in a proposed replacement telecommunication tower located at 405 Harmony Road. Fonter is a planning consultancy company that specializes in telecommunication towers, and we have been hired by Bell Mobility to oversee the planning process for this application. During this presentation, I hope to provide an overview of Bell and provide some more information about what a wireless network is. Additionally, we will discuss the specifics of the project, such as the status of the planning application, the tower design, site selection process, and Safety Code 6. Bell Mobility is a wireless provider in the telecommunication industry with approximately 9.5 million subscribers across Canada. Many telecommunication towers allow for co-location, meaning that a number of carriers may co-locate their services on a single tower. This allows for the reduction of tower proliferation. On this slide, you can see a graphic visualizing the process where a person makes a call, the nearest antenna receives the call, and then the call is transmitted through fiber optic cables to a mobile switching office. The mobile switching office transfers the call, which again is transmitted through fiber optic cables to a base station near person 2. The antenna for the base station then transmits the call to person 2, and they receive it on their cell phone. A wireless network can be thought of as a series of interconnected parts with the base stations and antennas working together to create a network. These networks create coverage areas which provide telecommunication services, and when adequately placed, they provide continuous wireless coverage across an area. On the screen, you can see a depiction of what a network looks like with the radius around individual towers showing their coverage areas. However, these networks only service a fixed number of calls and data requests. If there is an increased number of calls, for instance, the network's capacity is reduced to provide service to the closest signals. To solve these problems and to provide adequate telecommunication services, these gaps need to be filled by constructing new telecommunication towers. It is important to build new towers for telecommunication purposes, as wireless technology is responsible for delivering a number of essential communication services such as EMS response, voice data, internet service, and video streaming. In order to provide these services, each carrier must have a wireless network. Bell Mobility has an existing tower adjacent to the proposed property. However, this tower is being decommissioned and replaced with the proposed tower to ensure Bell's network and services are maintained in this area of North Dumfries. In this application, Bell is proposing a 75-meter replacement tower. The location can be seen in the image. We are currently in the public consultation phase as per the Township Telecommunications Tower Protocol as part of the planning process. It is the township's decision whether they provide concurrence confirming we have consulted with the township for this telecommunication tower. Here's a photo simulation showing the proposed replacement tower from the intersection of Boyda Avenue and Harmony Road, looking southeast towards the tower. And then here's another photo simulation from Highway 401, looking south towards the tower. Here's a map showing the existing telecommunication infrastructure near the proposed replacement tower. The Bell Mobility Tower to the west of the proposed tower is approximately 276 meters away and has a height of 65 meters. Though this tower does meet the height requirements by Bell, this tower is being decommissioned and replaced by the proposed tower, so co-location would not be possible. North of our proposal is a Rogers Communications Tower located approximately 1 kilometer away and has a height of 60 meters. Due to the number of antennae on this tower and its distance from the proposed site, co-location is not an option. And finally, there is a Bell-owned tower at 1865 Dumfries Road that is approximately 48 meters tall and 2.6 kilometers east of the proposed site. Due to the distance from the proposed tower, this tower would not be a viable option for co-location as it would not maintain the required levels of coverage in the area. Now I want to discuss Safety Code 6 and what it is. Safety Code 6 is maintained by Health Canada and is the standard that governs the limits of human exposure to electromagnetic fields for any broadcasting endeavor in Canada. It has been first published in 1979, being consistently revised. It has also been since revised in 2015. The RF exposure limits in Safety Code 6 are consistent with science-based limits used in other parts of the world, for example, the United States, the European Union, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. This graphic here depicts what different sources of RF emissions release RF emissions and where they fall on the radio spectrum. The left side being lower emissions and the right side showing higher emissions. Radio frequency emissions falls into two categories. Non-ionizing energy, which is electromagnetic energy that does not break down the bonds between atoms and molecules, which means it does not break down the chemical bonds within cells and tissues. And then there's ionizing energy, which is energy that can have enough power to break down the bonds between atoms and molecules. You can see here from left to right where certain items in our day-to-day lives fall on the spectrum, with power lines being 60 hertz, mobile phones being 700 megahertz, baby monitors being 900 megahertz, Wi-Fi being 5 gigahertz, and so on. The Safety Code 6 limit that has been chosen is already 50 times lower than the threshold for any potential adverse health effects. These limits are set well below the levels of unknown potential adverse health effects and provide protection for all age groups, including children, on a continuous basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This means that if anyone, including a small child, were exposed to RF energy with multiple sources within the Safety Code 6 limits for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, there would be no adverse health effects. Bell's towers only emit a fraction of what the Safety Code 6 limit is, so falls even lower than the threshold for potential adverse health effects. This slide shows a graphical representation depicting a telecommunications tower RF emissions on a vertical plane. White and blue being the most safe to red being the most dangerous. And then here's a magnified view to that. We can see here that red is really within less than a meter of antenna system, so it will never impact any community members in the area. The public consultation period began January 17th, 2024 and ended February 23rd, 2024. Within that time, we held an in-person public meeting on Thursday, February 22nd between 6 and 7 p.m. Newspaper ad was placed in the Air newspaper on January 17th, along with the sign installation on the subject property. We have received zero communication via email with the public and 0 people came to the meeting. We did, however, receive an inquiry regarding construction and timelines and have provided the necessary information for that. The proposed telecommunication tower is still within the planning process. Whether we receive municipal concurrence for this application is at the discretion of Township of North Dumfries, with the final approval being ISED. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Councilors, any questions, comments? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please? Council Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williman, that PD report number 06-2024 be received, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for consideration in a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Thank you, Nicholas. 8.2, report number PD 0724, proposed zoning bylaw amendment on Dumfries Road, file number ZC-01/24. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The clerk will keep record of all key persons who provide comments on this application, those who attend and complete the attendance sheet provided, and those who register with the clerk's department to request the notice of decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on this application. I'd like to introduce Michael Campos again. Manager. Go ahead, Michael, please.
Mayor, just sitting in the presentation now. Well, good evening again, Madam Mayor, members of council, senior staff, and members of the public. My name is Michael Campos, and I'm the manager of planning of the township, and I am here today to present to you a public information report relating to zoning bylaw amendment application that has been received for a property off Dumfries Road that does not currently have a municipal address, with the intent of establishing a waste management facility and new head office for Waste Management of Canada. The purpose of this meeting today is to provide an overview of the proposal received, to solicit comments, and to identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff as we move forward with the review of the application. So the subject property is located on the western side of Dumfries Road, south of Wright Road, as shown on the location map on your screen. The lines are bounded by the Canadian Pacific Railway line along the northern and western boundaries of the property. The subject property currently provides a lot frontage of approximately 30 meters onto Dumfries Road and has a total lot area of 7.23 hectares. The site is currently vacant of any buildings or structures and is actively being used for outdoor storage. Surrounding the subject property is primarily industrial-related uses as well as agricultural lands. The property is designated by the township's official plan as Highway 401/Regional Road 97 employment area on map 2 and dry industrial/commercial on map 2.27. The property is also split zone Z.9 industrial and Z12 open space and is subject to site-specific exemption 20.1.333 under the township's general zoning bylaw number 689. The applicant has submitted a zoning bylaw amendment application, which proposes to amend the existing site-specific exemption applied to the subject property to facilitate the establishment of a materials recovery preconditioning facility and new head office for Waste Management of Canada within one proposed building. The proposed facility is intended to receive non-hazardous recyclables, and these are primarily blue box recyclables, including various plastics, metals, and paper fibers, and separates them and sorts them into similar products. Once sorted, products are then bulked or baled and shipped to a secondary processing facility or to end markets. The facility is not intended to receive waste tires or hazardous materials, and the sorting process will not include any chemical treatment or pelletizing or shredding of plastics. The proposed facility will also include an accessory educational center and offices for Waste Management of Canada. The proposed facility will have a total floor area of approximately 13,171 square meters, or approximately 141,700 square feet, And the proposed plan will situate the office, staff, and visitor parking, as well as landscaping towards the front of the site to provide an attractive face to those visiting the property. To the rear of the building will be the loading and unloading areas that are hidden from view by the building itself, as well as by the proposed fencing. The proposed building is designed to be set back approximately 72.5 meters from the existing gravel. A total of 86 parking spaces are proposed for the development, in addition to 3 parking spaces for school buses, which will be used for future educational tours of the facility. The septic system and stormwater retention pond is proposed to be located on the northwest side of the site, nearest the Canadian Pacific Railway corridor. A new well will also be proposed to be installed on site following the completion and review of the hydrogeological investigation. So the proposed zoning bylaw amendment will seek specifically to establish the following site-specific permissions on the property. To establish the materials recovery preconditioning facility as a permitted use on the subject property, as well as to introduce the new defined term for this material recovery preconditioning facility. To permit a maximum building height of 18 meters, whereas the bylaw currently permits a maximum building height of 13.5 meters. And to permit vehicle parking to be located in front of the building as well as to the sides of the proposed building, whereas the bylaw requires all parking to be situated to the rear of the building line or lines. The following 2 slides will provide a visualization of the proposed elevations of the building. The first image shows the building if viewed from east to west. This is considered the front facade of the building. As can be seen, the head office and main entrance to the facility is on the right-hand side, with the main operations being located to the south and west of the main entrance. The second image displays the building if viewed southward. This is considered the northern facade and includes a large 20-foot by 26-foot overhead garage door, as well as 8 overhead docking doors. The following elevation is an image displaying the building if viewing it from west to east. There are 7 large overhead garage doors, each being 24 feet by 26 feet. And finally, the final elevation is if viewing the building from the south end of the site northward. There are 4 entrances to the facility from the south side of the building. At this time, planning staff have not received any comments from members of the public. Notice of the public meeting was circulated to property owners within a 120-meter radius of the property, and a notification sign was posted along the frontage of the property on Dumfries Road. The application has been circulated for review by internal and external agencies. Comments have started to be received. However, planning staff continue to await outstanding comments from a number of departments and agencies. With respect to the zoning bylaw amendment application, comments received to date have not included many of concern at this time. The township's engineering consultant has no objections to the proposed amendment, but has included several comments that will need to be addressed as part of the future site plan application, should the proposed zoning bylaw amendment eventually be approved. The fire department has also provided comments to be addressed as part of the zoning bylaw amendment, primarily with respect to to access to the property, fire-related comments, and connections to water for future potential firefighting purposes. No comments were received from the GRCA or the Waterloo Catholic District School Board. At this time, staff is recommending that no decision on the merits of the planning application be made, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for further consideration as part of the future report to the committee. A future staff report will consider matters including, but not limited to, all comments and correspondence received during the consultation process, the effect of the proposed development on matters of provincial interest, such as promoting efficient development and land use patterns, the appropriate location of growth and development, and further review of the draft zoning bylaw text, schedule, and site-specific provisions required to address the future intended use of specific lands, setbacks, off-street parking, definitions of the proposed uses, and these all represent aspects to be further considered and refined. Further review of the submitted studies by internal department and outside agencies, traffic that will be generated by the proposed development, whether the development conforms to the township and regional official plans, whether the general intent of the general zoning bylaw is maintained, the impact of the proposed development on surrounding properties, and appropriate mechanisms to ensure responsive site development, such as demonstrating appropriate parking, access to the property, grading and drainage, landscaping, etc. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, with Mark Eckhart and Tracy Black from WM, our attendants, just wanted to say anything. Go ahead.
Yes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, councillors, members of staff. Thank you for the opportunity tonight to present to you the Material Recovery Preconditioning Facility. My name is Mark Buckley. I'm a Senior Project Manager with AECOM Canada, and I'm joined online this evening by Hannah Surgener, who's a Senior Planner on this project for us. We are an agent of Waste Management. We are acting in a planning support and regulatory affairs support position on this particular project. Yeah, we are here to present the material recovery facility. So Tracy Black is with me from Waste Management. Tracy has a few slides at the start, and I will jump back up at the end for a brief summary, because I think Michael did a great job of really presenting the project.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, senior members of staff, and members of the public. I'm really honored to be here tonight to present a project with Waste Management and our proposed recycling facility. WM, formerly known as Waste Management, is North America's largest environmental services provider. We made a decision a couple years ago to rebrand and take waste out of the name because we've evolved to become much more than a waste company. Sustainability leadership is a key part of our mission. As a company, we've announced $2 billion in spend to meet our recycling and our renewable energy goals. Today, we operate over 75 recycling facilities in North America. We're the largest recycler of post-consumer materials. We're the leader in the beneficial use of landfill gas, with 2 projects coming to Canada, one in Ontario and one in Quebec. And we also run the largest fleet of natural gas vehicles in North America, and you see some of those running around the region today. In Canada, we generate $1 billion in revenue and employ 2,500 people. We've operated in the Waterloo region for over 50 years. We currently have 130 team members in the region, and they work out of either our hauling and transfer station facility in Waterloo or as part of our head office in Kitchener. So I mentioned that we're the largest recycler of post-consumer materials in North America. Today, that means we recycle over 15 million tons of material. Our goal is to grow that by 60% by 2030, and this project is a key piece of that growth. So the demand for the facility is really coming from a change to Ontario's Blue Box regulation. So what that really means is producers, so think about companies like Coca-Cola, Kraft, Costco, Amazon. Those companies are now becoming accountable and financially responsible for both collecting and sorting those recycled materials. The province right now is in the process of transitioning. So Waterloo Region actually transitions next week with full transition by 2026. And really the goal of the program is to increase the recovery of materials. It's to divert more volume from landfills. It's to create new markets for recycled products. And really with the producers now being responsible for it, the end goal is that producers reduce packaging and create packaging with newer materials. So WM has contracted with Circular Materials, so they are the largest pro, so that's a producer responsibility organization that represents the producers. So we've undertaken a contract with them to build a recycling processing facility. Tongue twister. So community benefits. So one of our 3 sustainability ambitions as a company is to make sure that the communities that we operate in are thriving. So what this means for us is WM is going to be putting in an investment of $130 million. This facility will create 40 new positions, and then with the relocation of our Canadian head office, It will also create more job opportunities for township residents. As Michael mentioned, the facility will include an education center. So this will be an interactive facility with an in-plant experience that can be used by local schools and also members of the public. So through community events, environmental projects, and charitable giving, our ultimate goal is to be a strong community partner. This is really exciting for me personally as a resident of Ayr for 40 years, to be able to give back to the community in a meaningful way. So why did we pick North Dunford? So we identified early on in the process that there would be a recycling processing shortage with the closure of the regional facility in Waterloo. This site in particular was chosen because it's an efficient transportation network with easy access to the 401 and also end market access to where the recycled materials will go to. In terms of on-site activities, we'll be receiving 130,000 tons of material each year. That will primarily come from blue box sources, including what's generated in the region of Waterloo and our township. It's important to note that all receiving and processing activities take place inside the building. And we've also got a plan to manage all of the traffic. So WM's brand promise is that we're always working for sustainable tomorrow. So this will be one, if not the most advanced recycling facility that'll exist in North America. So we'll have 19 optical sorters. We'll be using artificial intelligence and potentially robotics as well in the facility. What that results in is a high efficiency and high recovery rate. So the system can process 40 tons of material an hour, and the inbound volume will yield more than 95% of that volume into recycled products. We've got a lot of green initiatives planned for this facility as well. So we'll be including electric vehicle chargers. We'll be capturing the rainwater to be able to reuse in the facility. We've got plans to reduce both the outside and inside water consumption. For the most part, office materials where we can will come from recycled products. And even our employee uniforms are made from recycled plastic. Now, we do recognize that one of the biggest risks in our industry is fires. So along with a lot of community education that needs to happen with batteries. And, we partner with our local fire departments as well to make sure that they understand not only the facility, but the equipment, that they know the access points. We had the opportunity at the pre-consultation meeting to meet with fire chief and give him an outline of what our fire plans are. We've got a couple on the slide. So we've got a dedicated retention pond. We've got sprinklers that are in the facility for both the building and the equipment. We use a system called Fire Rover that is remote monitored 24/7 and can actually be remote activated as well. It uses a special foam that's maintained inside sea containers that are housed on site. And then we've also got a demising wall that's between the tip floor, so where the material gets unloaded and where the material gets sorted to try and limit the risk of a large fire spreading throughout the facility. So before I turn it back over to Mark, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to present today. I want to thank the township staff for your support in moving this project to get us to this position. We are under a really tight timeline with the regulation fully coming into effect January 1st, 2026. So really look forward to that continued partnership as we move this project forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Go ahead.
Tracy. Well, I'm not sure I'm really left with much after Tracy's presentation there. So perhaps I will skip through a few of the slides here on context because we've already identified the site location. But maybe a couple of things to point out on this preliminary site plan we have here. We did talk about the parking area. We have thought about truck movements extensively. We did put together a preliminary traffic study, updating the paradigm study from 2018, looking at vehicle movements both to the site and then once on the site. And we have incorporated fire truck routes around the three sides of the building, as well as looking at the semi trucks and the local collection truck movements as well. We've incorporated 3 bus parking areas, again, looking towards the education centre and the opportunity that provides for local community outreach and education. It will be a wonderful thing. There's nothing better for a kid than to see those conveyors moving, go look at the computer screens, the SCADA system. It's just a giant, so it's a great opportunity. We mentioned the firewater retention pond, so there is a firewater retention pond on site, just to the southwest of the existing stormwater retention pond. There is also a private sewer disposal system as well, shown here. The facility will be serviced by a septic tank. It's a traditional leach field system, given the site occupancy. I think the statistics would have been through the building areas and the heights. Context, I will skip over. So just a little bit on the background studies. So we have put a lot of effort into putting forward this zoning bylaw application. We have done both air and noise modeling. So we looked at air dispersion models, looking at the processes we have inside the building. There's a dust collector and what potential there is for air emissions at the closest receptor. The modeling showed that we are below regulation limits for both air and noise. The closest noise receptor, I think, is a farmstead to the east. And again, we are below regulatory limits there for noise impact. On the stormwater management side, there is an existing stormwater management pond on site. And we have run the calculations and demonstrated that the waste management this new facility can be accommodated by the existing stormwater retention pond. On the traffic, as we mentioned earlier, we've updated a study from Paradigm in 2018, looking at the 2029 timeline for traffic. So we projected forward additional traffic load expected on Dumfries Road. And there are no adverse effects on the traffic side. There is a recommendation that the township look at a left-hand turn lane. And again, there's time for that. We've already mentioned about the sewage system, so there will be a private sewer disposal system on site. Again, it's a technical term for a septic tank and leach field, but many of us have in our homes for all municipalities. It's below the legal, so below the regulatory limit for leaving an ECA, so we will be taking that forward to the east. But talking of ECA, the air and dispersion modelling, the noise modelling we've done, traffic impact, those will all be part of our submission to the ministry, because this facility will be an ECA for air, noise, and waste. We've talked, others have talked about the building and the elevations. So I thought maybe I'll just touch on where we are in the planning process. This is the first step, the zoning bylaw amendment. From here, with a favourable outcome, we move forward to the site plan application. And so that's when you will see detailed site plans, you'll see the functional servicing report, the grading, you will see another iteration of the air and noise report, the traffic report, and if there have been any changes along the way, which there have not been to date, we don't anticipate any, those will be picked up in the site reports. Once we have the SPA in at around the same time, if not sooner, we will engage with MECP. So the facility does require permits from the ministry, as I mentioned, air, noise, waste, actually grapevine, it does receive incoming materials and sorts those out to outgoing materials. Stormwater management, just using the existing pond nest, which should be compliant with those requirements. And then as soon as the SPA is approved, we then move into the building permits. So this is when we submit the detailed designs, the sealed drawings, and really that's what the building will be built to, and we move into construction. As we get close to running first material through the plant, we would receive from the MECP at that point an approval to start operations to process the waste and to really sort the waste. It's really about sorting that material. That blue bin box, it just gets tipped on the tip floor. And so we have to unmingle that and sort it out into its native components. They get baled and they get sent off some processing. So that's what the permit will be for. We hope to get that permit by November of 2025. And as Tracy mentioned, I really want to be online processing at 100% of capacity come January 2026. So yeah, I apologize for skipping through some slides, but I just didn't want to repeat what was already said. So I appreciate the opportunity to present tonight, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? And council, any questions or comments? Council Ross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My main, question is just with regards to the intersection with Dumfries Road and Roseville. I'm just wondering if there's any looking or research being done on whether that should get changed to some kind of traffic, light intersection. Just because it's already quite busy and it's really difficult to turn left from Dumfries onto Roseville Road currently with the volume of traffic. Just because it's just, especially during more busier times of the day, it just keeps them going. Thank you.
Go ahead, Michael.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that is certainly something that we can look at and we'll look at the existing traffic study to determine whether or not that was a consideration. But if not, we will look into that and see if that's something that maybe we should be prepared.
Council Roman?
Madam Mayor, I had a similar concern as Council Rowland. I'm just curious about the proposed truck movements. Are they going to be heading to 97 highway and onto 401 that way, or are they going up through Blair? I assume it's probably going in all directions, but is there a main route that they'll be following, or what's the proposal for that?
Come on to the microphone, please.
Hi, thanks. It will be a mix, but predominantly the traffic will be going back up to the 401. So they would be going right out of the facility and back up to the 401. There will be some like curbside collection vehicles that will use the facility as well, and they may head back into Cambridge to continue on their route.
Any further questions? Council Rose?
One other question with regards to the railway right there. Those trains are off and on. Is there going to be any concerns there with the interruption of flow? Like I've had to wait for half an hour for some of these trains to pass. So I'm just wondering, has that been considered at all? For this.
So what she's saying is, you know, you've lived in there, you know what the train.
I know what the train
Yes,
is, yes.
but they're even worse now, Tracy, because of the Toyota and Chantilly down.
Right.
So they're the longest trains in Canada, but you're probably very aware of this.
Yeah. And I think that's a really long driveway heading into the facility. So I think we're comfortable with the on-traffic queuing that we can keep them there. And if there is a train, they can go right out of the facility for the most part and head back up to where they need to go.
Well, this is exciting. I think it'd be nice to see a progress. You should, Council Julie.
Nope, I think always this is, well, at this stage. At this stage.
Okay, can I have the motion, please? I believe Council Rose.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Holman, that PD report number 07-2024 be received, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for further consideration in a future report to council on the disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Okay, confirmatory by, please, Councilor Tilly.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osner, that bylaw number 3465-24 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on February 27, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally be passed, signed, and sealed by the mayor and acting clerk.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. And the adjournment, Councilor Rowland.
Moved by myself and by Councilor Williams, that whereas business for the council meeting public planning has been completed at 7:58 p.m. and be resolved this meeting.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Thank you.